broke when he said he was leaving. But now it had been ripped from her chest and stamped on. She howled like an injured animal as she collapsed onto the bed. Simon simply continued packing, without even a glance, or any offer of comfort. When Lucy and Simon married, they had wanted to start a family as soon as possible. So 18 months after their wedding, their daughter Lottie was born. She was a beautiful, chubby baby, always smiling and very rarely crying, and they both adored her. One terrible night, when Lottie was almost 6 months old, Lucy had gone to bed before Simon. She didn't look in on Lottie for fear of disturbing her, but an hour later was woken by the sound of Simon screaming. Lottie wouldn't wake up. She didn't have an illness. Nothing went undetected. Lucy and Simon did nothing wrong. Their beautiful baby girl was the victim of sudden infant death syndrome. Doctors had said the possibility of it happening another time would be minimal. Every precaution would be taken for Lucy and Simon's other babies to ensure it didn't. Lucy couldn't take that chance. She couldn't go through that again. She couldn't handle a child, which they'd created from love, being snatched from them. Simon had agreed that it was too much to bear, and so they decided that they would create a fantastic life for themselves, without any more children. As Lucy watched Simon, she couldn't understand how distant he'd become. He didn't seem to care that this was killing her, that she was reliving the agony of losing their daughter all over again, as well as losing him, her husband, and the love of her life. Lottie had barely been gone 3 years, but he was willing to move on and replace her, replace Lucy too. "Simon," she whispered, "what about Lottie? Did she mean nothing to you?" Simon faltered for a moment. "I loved Lottie, but she's gone, Luce. You need to try to accept it too. We agreed, Simon. You agreed that we wouldn't have any more children. It's what you wanted, Luce. I just wanted what you wanted." He looked at Lucy, unshed tears for his beloved daughter glistening in his eyes. "You could have told me how you felt. You didn't need to go and get someone else pregnant. I would have listened." Sitting up, Lucy wiped her face against the back of her hand and sniffed loudly. "Would you? Would you honestly, Lucy? I don't think so, and besides—" Simon stopped speaking and looked inside his wardrobe. "Besides what, Simon?" Lucy asked. Simon sighed deeply, turning back to her. "Besides, Lucy, I just don't love you anymore." With that, Simon picked up his suitcase and left the house and hadn't contacted Lucy since that day. Sarah's sigh broke Lucy's thoughts. "Please, Luce, we're worried about you. Lying in bed for 2 weeks can't be healthy." "And 2 days," Lucy corrected her. "OK, for 2 weeks and 2 days, whatever length of time it is, it's not healthy. Even your mother's been ringing me to find out whether you've surfaced or not. The local press thinks that it's a hostage situation you've been up here so long." She smiled at Lucy, hoping for a reciprocal grin, but there wasn't one. "I don't want to get up, I don't want to leave the house, and I certainly don't want my mother around here. If you let her in with your key, or even get her to call me, I would never speak to you again." Lucy, closing her eyes and pulling the bobble hat further down on her head, disappeared under the duvet. Sarah shook her head and sighed. "OK, I'll leave you for today, but I will be back tomorrow, and please seriously think about having a shower, you stink." Lucy sat up from under the duvet, sniffing at her armpits. "No, I don't. Do I?" She sniffed again. "Phew, you're right, I do. OK. I might have a shower when you've gone. Anyway, why are you so tarted up for a Wednesday afternoon?" Lucy couldn't see Sarah blush in the dim light of the curtained bedroom. "I'm meeting Ben." What Sarah didn't elaborate on was that Ben, her husband, had booked a hotel room, and that they were going to pretend that he'd picked her up in the bar before going upstairs for some rampant sex. The breakdown of Lucy and Simon's marriage had scarred them both, knowing that they rarely had time for each other now that they had 2 young sons, Noah, aged 4, and Milo, aged 10 months. They had decided that changes should be made to avoid going the same way as their close friends.